Taking the Windows Phone out in 2020. Craziness. Let's see how it works.
Now everybody scream enough respect to the X. Enough respect given.
So this is my old Alcatel Idol 4S Windows Mobile 10. As far as I know, one of the last Windows mobile phones to come out in the US. It came out on T-Mobile. I jumped on it when it did. It came with a VR headset because back then VR on mobile was a big thing. I think it was the first and only Windows Mobile 10 phone to have an included VR headset. The VR itself wasn't anything to gawk at. It wasn't anything particularly interesting, but it did come with a few VR apps. See, VR Video, VR Store, VR Launcher, VR Gallery. See, they tried at least to give the Windows Mobile 10 user some VR experience to talk about. And for the most part, they weren't bad. Wasn't anything great. It wasn't like what Samsung had at the time with their Gear VR, but it was VR on Windows Mobile 10. Now, as far as apps go, in 2020, the App Store is all but dead for the Windows 10 mobile. When you go into the App Store, which is right here, looks very familiar, right? It looks like the Surface or the Windows PC App Store, because in fact it is in fact the Windows PC store. Now you can scroll through it just like anything else, and what I found fun is you can buy an app here and it'll be on your PC when you get home. Now, being that Windows Phone was from a whole different era of mobile device, it has all of the luxuries we used to take for granted that are no longer here. Case in point, wait, wrong side. A headphone jack. You cannot go wrong with one of these. It was great then, it's still great now. And second, a two-stage camera button. Now, I know that the camera button is only for the Windows Phone version of, or I keep saying Windows Phone, the Windows Mobile 10 version of this phone. There was an Android version of the same device, and I'm not really sure what the button did on that. It might have been the power button, it might have been the Alexa button, or the Google button, I don't know. But on this one, it's the camera button. So while we're here, let's take a quick look at the camera on this bad boy. Note, my finger is on the button. Let's take a picture of this angle here. Oh, you know what? That really is the camera button. A quick press of the button and it wakes up the phone and shoots you right into the camera right away. No need to touch a software button, no need for a swipe. A lot of phones these days could still use that feature. Let's see this here. Now the pictures do take a little while to go through. I do have the HDR turned on. Truthfully, I don't know if HDR is even any good on this phone, but I do have it turned on. Let's turn it off, and let's do a quick comparison. They take the same picture twice. See how the camera acts. Yeah, without HDR, it takes it a lot faster. I guess HDR has more to process with the image. Cold War just got installed. Check it out. My PC does the same thing. Aren't those live tiles just beautiful? Everything just alive, moving as it should. Bring your attention to where you need it to be. Such a beautiful interface, completely customizable. Okay, so let's take a closer look at some of these pictures that I took here. We go into the gallery. And what do we have? Again, very much like, actually, exactly like the PC photo gallery. Because in all truth, that's what all of this is. These are pictures that have gone to my OneDrive from all of the devices I have connected to the OneDrive, not just the phone. So no matter what I take here, it goes straight to my PC, which is kind of nice. We also took some video. Let's take a look at that. See how Windows Phone performs in 2020. Well, no stabilization. We can see that. But for what it is, it performs well enough. As far as apps go, there aren't really that many. We all know the biggest hurdle that Windows Mobile 10 faced was the app gap, as it was called. Developers just did not get on board with developing apps for the Windows Mobile 10 platform, which put them at a huge detriment, especially when compared to the likes of Apple and Google. The phones themselves had their slight issues, but they were charming. And the UI that Microsoft created for these phones was nothing short of amazing. But without the apps, you didn't have the customers. But simple things like Messenger, Snapchat, Twitter, all had, or not had, they didn't have a Windows 10 mobile alternative. There were other clients, but when it came to third-party clients for these things, you had to take security into consideration. Where was your passwords, and if it's an app where you had to throw in your bank information or your credit card information, where these apps set up to take your info, and there are so many third-party apps. Microsoft wasn't really able to police them all, so you did get a lot of spam apps on the device, which also led to the demise of Windows 10. They just couldn't find a way to close the app gap. Now, people like me, who were avid users of Windows 10, it was my favorite platform back then, and I swear to God, if they didn't die, it would still be my favorite platform now. You found ways around it. When Windows Mobile 10 was released, they got an upgrade to Microsoft Edge. And with that upgrade came what I just call web apps. I actually think that's an actual name, yeah. Now, pretty much everything I use on the regular is in some way, shape, or form on my Windows Mobile 10 in 2020. Here are my web apps, as you can see: Amazon, Google, YouTube, Twitter, YouTube to MP3, the Gram, Facebook, and Facebook Messenger. Though that's my social media right there. And with a quick touch I'm able to go into any of my more modern apps via the web page. So this would be Instagram here, providing it lets me get through, and there we go. My connection out here is kind of slow. I hopped on the Wi-Fi. I guess it's having some issues outside. But here is the gram. No problem. And because it's online, it does fit my screen quite nice. No issues there. Oops. Close out that. Now I am able to jump to any other site I want to as well. But being that these are apps that I use on the regular, I'm able to go to a site and pin it to the home screen of the phone. Now some things might not look the same. Like for example here, this is measure how it looks on your PC screen. Can I talk with these people? I definitely can. But it's not the same type of thing though. Now the one flaw, like with Messenger here, the one flaw is, even though I can click on a conversation and speak with whoever is in that conversation without issue, I don't get alerts for when they actually reply back. So it's a good thing I'm not in here for the conversations all that often regardless. But it just goes so that you can indeed speak and send via the web app, so you aren't completely out of the loop. People who complain that Google didn't offer Microsoft and Olive Branch, there were no Google apps optimized for Windows Phone. The only Google app that I really have to use, I have so many Android apps, is the photo gallery. And because of the web app, I do have access to all of the photos that I take or save, and the movies that I do, the videos, everything is here. I just have to open the web app. So Windows Mobile 10 did have their ways around certain things. As long as it was available online, for the most part, you could still use it here. Twitter works fine as a web app. It even has a little tweet button. So as you can see here, all of my social media needs are easily met with web apps. Now, messaging on Windows 10 Mobile was always just so comfortable to me. Just the way it looked, so clean. You were able to customize the colors that you wanted the bubbles to be, even add background. You had groups, you could pin those groups, get pictures, download them. Let's start a new one. It was easy to start new text, whatever the case was. And the keyboard, I can't see what I'm doing. Back then, we had swipe. Way before Apple and whatever else, we had swipe, and it was great. We even had this little guy here, which allowed you, let's just put this here, let's swipe something because we can. And this here was directional pad, which allowed you to easily swipe through or scroll through whatever you were doing, up, down, back to front, without having to try and touch between letters if that is something that was happening to you. Yes, when Windows Phone had that, something that most computers now still don't have. It was really nice the way they did this keyboard layout. And even now, it's still, to me, more comfortable and easier to type on this keyboard than on all the Android keyboards and Apple keyboards I've used to date. Now, things like what I found, Netflix no longer works. Maybe, I mean, the app is there, but it refuses to open up, which is a bummer. Can't really watch anything because Hulu no longer works either. Now, the Microsoft, their videos app does work, and here it is, movies and TV. But would you really expect any less? It's Microsoft's app. In their store, you do have access to every common movie because it is just the PC store in a smaller form. Is it everything that I've bought over the years, whether I remember them or not, is still in my Windows 10 mobile movie gallery. And even stuff I've bought recently, like the Final Fantasy movie collection here, is also here. So that's nice. It's just nice to know that even in the way things are now, my Windows Mobile 10 could be used on a regular basis if I had to. All of the basics are still there. They say it's a dead platform, but for a dead platform, it's still very usable, and it's still more enjoyable to use than some of the current platforms today.